Welcome to English Stories Journey. Listen, relax, and grow your English with every story.
It was a cold morning in November. The sky was gray, and the wind carried the smell of rain. Daniel walked quickly down the street, holding his coffee in one hand and his briefcase in the other. He checked his watch again. 7:55, he whispered. I can still make it. The bus left at 8. If he missed it, he would be late for work again. He turned the corner and ran the last few steps. But when he reached the bus stop, he saw the bus already pulling away. "No! Wait!" he shouted, waving his hand. The driver looked in the mirror but didn't stop. The red lights disappeared down the street. Daniel stood there, breathing hard, watching as the bus got smaller and smaller. He had missed it by 5 minutes. He sat down on the cold bench. The next bus wouldn't come for 20 minutes. He wanted to be angry, but instead he just sighed. 5 minutes, he said quietly. Only 5 minutes and everything changes. He opened his briefcase and took out a small notebook. Inside were his plans, his schedule, his goals, his deadlines. He lived by the clock, by the rules, by the plan. But lately his life felt empty. He worked in an office, sold insurance, talked to numbers all day. He ate lunch alone, came home tired, and went to bed too late. Maybe the world is telling me to slow down, he said, half smiling. He looked around. It was the first time he really noticed the little park near the bus stop. The trees were turning yellow and gold. A few leaves danced in the air, landing on the ground like quiet snow. A woman sat on a nearby bench, reading a book. She had a red scarf and kind eyes. A little dog sat beside her, watching the leaves fall. Daniel smiled. "Cute dog," he said. The woman looked up. "Thank you," she said, smiling back. "His name is Milo." Milo wagged his tail as if to say hello. They started talking, first about the weather, then about books, then about coffee. She told him her name was Emma. She was a teacher at the local school. "What about you?" she asked. "Insurance," he said, making a face. "Not very exciting." Emma laughed softly. "Exciting isn't everything," she said. "Sometimes peace is better." He thought about that. Peace. It sounded like a word from another life. They talked until the next bus came. He almost didn't notice the time. When the bus stopped, he stood up. "That's my ride." Emma nodded. "Maybe I'll see you again." He smiled. "Maybe you will." He got on the bus and looked out the window. Emma waved and he waved back as the bus moved away. At work, Daniel's boss was waiting. "You're late again," she said. "Yes, I missed the bus," he replied. "Well, be on time next week. We can't afford mistakes." Daniel nodded, but his mind wasn't on his job anymore. It was still in the park, with Emma, the red scarf, and the little dog named Milo. That evening, on his way home, he stopped by the same park. He didn't expect to see her again, but there she was, sitting on the same bench, reading the same book. He smiled. "5 minutes late again," he said, walking over. Emma looked up. "Lucky for you," she said, closing her book. And just like that, their story began. Days turned into weeks. Daniel started taking the later bus every morning, the one that made him 5 minutes late. He met Emma in the park almost every day. Sometimes they drank coffee together, sometimes they just talked and watched the city wake up. He learned she loved old movies, rainy days, and chocolate croissants. She learned he secretly played guitar and once dreamed of traveling the world. "Why don't you?" she asked one morning. Daniel shrugged. "Too busy, I guess. Too safe." Emma smiled gently. "Sometimes Safety is just another word for fear. Those words stayed with him. One Friday morning, Daniel was again 5 minutes late. On purpose. He brought 2 coffees and a small paper bag with pastries. "For you and Milo," he said. "Bribing my dog now?" Emma laughed. "Smart move." They talked for an hour that day. When he finally stood up to leave, he said something he hadn't planned to say. "Would you like to have dinner sometime?" Emma looked surprised, then smiled. "Yes," she said softly, "I'd like that." That dinner led to more. Walks, talks, shared secrets. He found himself laughing again, real laughter, the kind that comes from somewhere deep inside. He started caring less about being perfectly on time. He cared more about watching sunsets, trying new things, and living each day as if it mattered. He even quit his job one day. His boss was shocked. "I just want to do something that feels alive," he said. He started teaching guitar to kids at the community center, something he never thought he'd do. It didn't pay much, but it made him happy. And every morning before his new day began, he walked to the park with 2 coffees and a heart full of peace. A year later, Daniel stood in that same park again, only this time he wasn't waiting for the bus. He was waiting for Emma. When she arrived, Milo ran to him, barking with excitement. "Ready?" she asked, smiling. "Always," he said. They walked hand in hand to the little cafe nearby. It was their first anniversary, the day they met because he was 5 minutes late. Sometimes, when people asked how they met, Daniel laughed. "I missed my bus," he said. "Best mistake of my life." Emma always added, "There are no mistakes, only moments that lead us to where we're meant to be." And maybe she was right, because that small delay, just 5 minutes, had changed everything. Years later, when their hair had turned gray and Milo was just a sweet memory, Daniel often told the story to his grandchildren. 5 minutes, he would say. Never forget that sometimes being late is just life's way of putting you in the right place at the right time. Do you trust the timing of your life? Write in the comments. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe for more English stories.